Woo! We are out to sea with our friends Nick and Terysa on their very first passage on their brand new Seawind 1370 Catamaran. And they have spent the last 2 years of their lives documenting the build of this boat because it's a brand new design which has created a lot of hype and a lot of expectations, which begs the question, does it live up to the hype? Like, is it the dream boat that they hoped it would be? Which is exactly what we are finding out on this passage. Sporting game.
Got the action camera. I'm going for it. Keep an eye on me.
He's a true professional.
Straight up the flying.
I love how we're inside, filming from the safety in here, but laughing at him after. Yeah.
Well, day 2. Day 1 did not go so well for me. I was out. I got a bug. Right before we moved off from the dock, I had basically got rid of everything in my body. And I was pretty dizzy, passing out almost. So I just laid back here in the cockpit the whole time. Pretty much the whole day. And it was a beating up wind, super rough day. Today's a little bit more of the same, but not quite as bad. We're heading straight towards the island of Koh Tao. We are in Thailand, sailing straight south.
Yeah, I mean, we're getting used to the sounds because it's a new boat. Otherwise, like, even in this weather where we're kind of slamming up and down the waves, she's really solid. There's no squeaks or creaks or anything.
And we realize we're doing full notes now and flying.
Yeah, like covered in salt water, head to toe. Slightly different waves.
Yeah, definitely an upgrade. Yeah, it's definitely an upgrade. Extra hull.
Sure.
Yeah, extra hull.
Officially sailing. The wind finally clocked around and we've got a nice good angle, so we are 66 degrees apparent wind and we are cranking along at 8.2, 8.3 knots. Sea state is really calmed down, so it's nice and comfortable now, and yeah, it feels really good. Really good.
See the island?
Oh, and yes, we can see Koh Tao. It's straight ahead. Land ho. Land ho. Watch yourself.
Made it. Okay. Day's over. It's a good sail. It was a good day. Was it a good day? Much better than yesterday. Any day It doesn't matter how crappy the day is. It's better than yesterday. I know, exactly. It was a great day.
I thought it was a great sail. I thought the boat did amazing. I thought the crew did amazing. We had fabulous co-captains. I don't know what anybody else is complaining about.
Man, I wanted to fly this so bad on the passage so we could get Ruby Rose sailing, but the conditions were a little too sporting. It's a brand new drone. This is the DJI Air 3, and it's our first flight, so we didn't want to risk that out at sea. We're gonna go check out this island instead.
We've been using the Mini 3 Pro because it's tiny and it's been the best for our backpacking adventures over the past year. Okay, complete.
Okay.
That's a good spot.
Nice and clear.
Now if I can just land it there.
Yeah.
But now that we're getting closer to moving aboard our new boat, we need something beefier for sailing.
It's supposed to go up real fast.
Well, I'm not going up yet. It's supposed to be better for filming like close objects and people because of the zoom lens, so I'm gonna do those first.
Okay.
So when DJI reached out about this new Air 3, we were stoked because it has some serious upgrades. It's practically a Mavic, but with a much friendlier price tag. And Nick and Terysa are due for a new drone too, so we're all keen on testing out these new features. So one thing about being able to zoom is it like compresses the background. Now I'm showing the like full wide. There's the 2x zoom, and there's the 3x. Hold up, turns out I did it wrong. So when you want the telephoto lens, I actually have to stop recording, switch it to the telephoto, then hit record again. And I wasn't doing that. I was simply clicking the button as we were still recording, which means I was using the digital zoom, not the actual lens. So the 1x is the regular lens. We click the 3, that goes to the telephoto lens, right? But we can only record in one mode or the other because the other one goes away. So there's 3x telephoto, stop, we'll go back to the regular lens 1 time, start recording, it goes away. Now here's what happened. I just saw that and I go, oh, okay, I wanna go zoom in, would click the button, there's 2x, there's 3x, but that's digital zoom, not the actual telephoto lens. So the quality difference is quite significant. Anyway, that was me coming at you from the future. Just felt like I needed to clarify that. Because this is the challenging situation. Like you want to get us sitting here, but you can't freaking do that without nicking something and then drowning the drone. So now we're like way the frick out there, but it looks like we're super close.
You got a runaway BC.
Yeah, we do.
Runaway regulator.
So yeah,
That looks amazing.
Yeah, so let's see what we can do here. Like as if we're peeking at us from in here so we can get even closer. Which looks totally like we're in the danger zone.
It looks like you're about to crash the drone.
Yeah, it looks uncomfortable from the screen because you're like, oh, but you're not like.
And you do have some depth of field.
Yeah, it definitely compresses the background.
Yeah.
So the drone is that far away, maybe 10, 15 feet from the boat. I think the funny thing is the drone's flying and we're all staring at this little remote. We're like not even looking at the drone. We're like,
Everyone's like, what you looking at?
yeah, it's gonna be great drone footage. Great drone footage. Hold on, I want to get you going up.
Well, no, I was going in. Look, I'm not all about the like super fast speeds very often. Quite honestly, I like the cinematic mode. That's my favorite. You want like those slow, controlled movements. That's what keeps it from being all jerky.
Okay, boss.
So I can do. You want me to do one for a test? Can
Just see how fast it goes.
Can you
I
see
want
the
to see how
drone?
fast it goes. Ready.
Okay, now we're actually in sport mode.
Okay.
Here we go.
Holy cow, that's fast. The best new feature of this drone is the sensor. It is larger, it has 10-bit color, HLG, and D-Log M. Basically what all that means is it's easier to color correct. You've got a lot more latitude in the images, so when you're shooting a white boat on a dark blue sea, you can bring it back instead of it just like blowing out or making the sea super dark. So it is really nice to have 10-bit color and that really good D-Log color space. Can you actually see the screen? You're in full sun.
Yeah, I totally, and I have polarized sunglasses on, and it doesn't kill the screen.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
That is cool.
Yeah.
You're not just saying that, right? You can see
No,
it?
I've been flying this whole time. I'm not flying mine.
You know what you're shooting?
You can see the screen.
You
I
have no
can
idea
see
what's
the
going
screen. So we just bought, what's this called, love?
RC2.
Yeah, okay. So we bought one of these because it drains my phone, and we use our phone for so many things, especially when we're out and about. So anyway, I wanted the dedicated screen and remote control just for the drone. So now that we've had that one, I don't know if there has actually been an improvement, but it feels like it is brighter and easier to see the screen than our last remote control. Yeah, so that's cool. This one has obstacle avoidance.
Omnidirectional.
Omnidirectional. I know I've crashed inside the factory. I think Nick said he's crashed inside the factory. Yeah, so whenever you're going sideways and you can't see that beam, so now technically I wouldn't have that issue anymore because it would see it. And so I've got it on bypass at the moment, or you can set it to brake, or you can obviously turn it off. So as I start to get closer, it's telling me where it's coming from.
Yeah. So it beeps at you.
You're making me nervous.
It's moving itself away from it.
Oh, it is? Okay. Don't try to crash it over the water. Jeez.
But it did. It kept slowly hovering. You saw that to like keep itself off the rails. It does work.
Okay, you
That's
want to
very
try it
good.
again? I'll go stand over there.
Your funeral. Right. You want me to go for you?
Not me, just the boat. Okay.
All right. So now we're officially low battery because we've been mucking about. So we do need to land it.
Okay.
We'll see how this works.
Obstacle avoidance is on?
Yep. Well, it's on bypass.
Oh, it's on bypass.
Yeah. So it should fly away from obstacles.
Okay. Might be too sensitive to land here.
Nope.
Oh.
This can be very handy. I like that. Because all I did was just down.
Down.
I didn't control where it was coming. It really does move itself away. It's very cool. I dig that. No, I'm not going to jinx
Not gonna
myself.
say it,
No, yeah. So now that we've all had coffee and breakfast, and we've had 2 days of passage making and bashing up this boat, now we need to actually talk to you about this boat and show you around. So this is, as we've said, the Seawind, as I'm looking down at the logo, the Seawind 1370. Don't want to get it wrong. So this is Ruby Rose 2, and she is an owner's version, 44 feet. We've got
45? 40, 30, 70.
Whatever that is.
Whatever that is in freedom units.
Do conversion on screen now. Okay. Now that we all know the length of this boat, you can go to Ruby Rose and see all the specs there. They've documented the entire build of this. They're going to be doing full tours, so I'm going to kind of just run through this quickly because you can find so much more information over on their channel. So they do have the owner's version, which means they've got one entire hull dedicated to just them with a nice workstation for Terysa for editing, because let's be honest, she does most of the work around here. Just kidding. But it is kind of true. Nice big head and bathroom, and then of course that nice big walk around bed, which I know is a big deal for them whenever they were building this boat and looking to buy a catamaran. And I know that because, well, they stayed with us on our catamaran and we had walk around beds in their cabin. Probably I didn't have much to do with it, but it does give you that nice, you can get all the way around the bed, makes it easier to make it, all those sort of things. Then of course we've got a nice big salon, galley, cockpit, and then 2 guest cabins and a shared head, shower, bathroom, whatever you want to call that. And then a forward V-berth as well, so that's kind of one extra little sleeping quarters, and of course a workshop, which we'll get into later. Okay, so what are you gonna do?
So DJI also just launched a brand new Osmo, which is the Osmo 4. This is the 3, so it's the older version. The new one has the exact same sensor, that 1/1.3 inch sensor that's supposed to be better in low light.
Basically, the idea is
Do we need to upgrade or not?
good luck.
I have no idea if it's the same shot or not.
I don't know. It should be good enough. We should
Yeah.
be able to tell the difference between them. Just try to, as long as it's generally.
Yeah. Okay, here we go. Ooh, it's a very dark corner. Whoa, there's a huge difference. We're getting way less grain and a lot more detail out of the drone. Okay, test complete.
Up on deck, they have right around 2,200 watts of solar on this massive cabin top, which is quite lovely. Then they've got 3 sails forward, which is a jib, a code sail, and then they have a spinnaker. We've got the nice big square top main, which looks beautiful. And of course a big lounge area up front built right into the deck. 2 lovely princess seats up front for spotting coral heads or just being a princess and watching the dolphins whenever they show up, which they did not for us this time. We still have time. I'm going to be very disappointed in you, Thailand dolphins, if you do not come to say hello to me before we leave. So that's the 2 cent tour, but now let's get into the nitty gritty of it, because that's what I really want to know is after this passage, how do you feel about your boat? Is it everything that you hoped it would be? Did it live up to your expectations? Because now it's not hypothetical anymore. You've actually had 2 days of passage making on the boat.
And I think you have to understand and remember what we came from. We came from like a 38-foot monohull. So this has been a huge step up, but also it's a very different way of sailing. It's a different way of living on the boat. We've kind of come across issues that it didn't even register that they would be an issue. Like, for example, like not being able to see the sails from, I mean, you've got like a window here, but you don't have as much visibility as you do on a monohull, of course. So just that connection
is different.
It's different. And like we were gusting like 26 knots the other day, and I'm just like sitting there, and then Nick's like, we have to put the 3rd reefing line in. I'm like, we do? What's the problem? Oh. It's just that new way of learning how to sail. And of course, like living on this boat is a whole different ball game. Like, completely. We didn't even have a freezer on our old boat, so wow, we've got all the things on this boat. It's very exciting. I mean, I love monohull sailing, but when you're living on a boat, then you start rethinking things a little bit, and this is just so much more comfortable.
One of the biggest questions we got from our patrons when we told them that we were going to be here on board is what met, exceeded, or failed expectations?
Overall, the boat has definitely met our expectations for sure, but there are definitely certain elements of the design that we were very particular about. We did a catamaran review series and we reviewed, I want to say like 19 catamarans, and we saw all sorts of different designs. So something that was really important to us was the helm position. As you and I have discussed, there's no perfect helm. There's no perfect helm. So it's a compromise. It's what is important to you. We wanted to be able to sit at the helm and be protected from the elements. We wanted good visibility so that we could keep watch effectively. And we wanted the helm to be connected to the living space so that it wasn't, you get the flybridge helms where you're just really all by yourself up there. So that were kind of the 3 main things.
And you also opted for
a twin helm design.
Now that you have it, how do you feel about it?
It's great. What it means is that, for example, if it's raining and you've got some rain coming in here, I mean, we've got side clears, but you can just move over to the other helm. Same with like the sun. Obviously, in close quarters, when you're maneuvering, you can decide which helm you're at, which one suits you best. You can control the engines from both helms. You can control the autopilot from both helms. And also, it's just nice for us both to sit in. I mean, we have spent quite a bit of time sitting together at our lovely big helm seats, little like love seats, but it's nice to have our own perch and we can both see everything. So yeah, love it.
And then, okay, so what's another, like, love it, exceeded expectations?
Okay, so the whole open plan living concept was really important. On the Seawinds, all of their designs, they have these huge like safari windows, big forward opening hatches, and that coupled with the trifold door, which I think is also pretty like unique to Seawind, you end up with this huge big living space where you get the cockpit and the saloon and the galley and all this area just essentially one big space. But also, as we can experience right now, you get this beautiful breeze coming through, and it's so nice.
So then what is one thing that maybe didn't meet your expectations, or something you just didn't expect at all?
Well, I'm a short human. It's like I can't actually reach that at all. And
I can,
yeah,
2 fingers.
I can go on my tiptoes, but then I'm like hanging like this.
Yeah.
So that doesn't work for me. And so I don't have many. I've got this like grab rail here, but in the cockpit, it's kind of like, right, what am I holding on to right now? So yeah, that doesn't work for me. That's useless to me. But if you are tall, and we've had a lot of tall guys in particular say like, what's the head height like? Then this is great
for you.
Great for you. I need those like on a bus, like those little kind of like things that you hold on to.
Little straps.
The straps, yeah.
Yeah.
And the other thing, when we were doing our reviews, one thing that I really, really wanted was an interior nav station that I could sit at when the weather's not very nice, or you're doing night watch, for example, and you don't want to go outside. But again, short human. Hang on, how do I even work this seat? I'm still learning how this boat works.
You've had like 3 whole days on board.
I know. Get it together. We moved on 5 days ago.
Yeah.
Maybe 6 days ago. Like, it's been a hectic time. I can barely like see over.
You got 6 inches of raise in that seat.
Yeah, I can.
Right, but then you're sitting at a bar stool.
Yeah, exactly. And then my legs are dangling. So it's not as, the visibility from the nav station is not as good for me as a 5'2" person as I was hoping. As Nick said, I can raise the seat, but then my legs are dangling, so it's not like super comfortable.
Yeah.
So maybe a stool. Or a stool for your foot.
Footrest.
Oh yeah,
Oh.
like I've got this thing. I could maybe like sit sideways.
There
like
you go.
this, be raised up. That's
Yeah,
kind of
or
awkward.
even put your feet on the sofa there if you
if Nick lets me.
No. make a cloth for there. So,
salty feet on the sofa.
Yeah.
I mean, contrarily, that I have no problem with that at all. At 5'9",
have a little
so
sit down?
176, I can see like,
Yeah.
more than comfortably over that.
So we saw you sitting there, and your visual. Yeah, so you, Nick.
Visually, I'm fine. So if I wise myself into that seat,
This was I loved like just leaning right here and
yeah.
and
I
sitting
can
at
tell
this
your
spot.
head is much higher.
yeah,
than
I mean,
hers.
my eyes are
Yeah.
just probably exactly between those two.
Yeah.
It's a height dependent thing, and there's unfortunately there's nothing we can do about your diminutive stature.
That was the main thing for me, the like thing that I got on board for the first time. I was like, okay, there's just a couple of little things that don't work for me personally.
Yet.
Yet
It was still
it's short people problems that need to be solved.
exactly.
Yeah, that's fair enough. Like we're gonna have I don't even know how many of those.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There'll be
So booster seats and like
A booster seat and a
grab
little,
rails, grab
handle.
rail and a footstool and some stilts.
Can I get an adult booster seat, please? So now it's Nick's turn. So Nick, what was a couple of your hits and misses?
So it hits visibility from this point, the helm station. There was a lot of questions on the internet about how much that post in the middle of the saloon would impede visibility. We haven't found that to be a problem. I think that sailing, you should be moving around a boat, not sit in a static position. I think with these windows down, then you have really good visibility when you're sailing. It is slightly more problematic when you are close quartered. Now the 4 of us had to anchor for the first time in the dark 3 nights ago, pick up a mooring buoy in the dark 2 nights ago, and a couple of things become apparent. Number one, when I'm at this helm, even with the windows open, I can hear nothing. With the windows closed, I can hear there's zero.
Less than nothing.
There's zero. So we are going to have to invest in some relationship saving headphones,
Headsets.
to get those sorted out. I found that when we were kind of trying to maneuver the boat into this anchorage at night, I was just sat on the coaming, just steering with my foot, and then that kind of obviates it. But these windows, especially at sea, you can't have them open. I think that's something we did realise is how much spray comes through in wet weather, so everything does have to be closed. You do have to move around to see the sails. There's a window there so I can see the set of the mainsail, but also just sticking my head up like a meerkat above the coach roof, I can see everything. There is a slight issue in unfurling the sails and knowing how the sail is furling and not furling, and we've had a problem with that, which is why our Screecher is stuck in a locker, because we have to go and untangle something tomorrow. So there are we have to just learn. It's a learning experience as to how we best make sure that we're aware of everything going on the boat. On Ruby Rose, we just had almost an open cockpit, so we could see everything. It was never an issue. Now there are blind spots, essentially caused by the fact we've got a bloody great hard top here. So we need to work out a way of doing that, and we can't just take the skill set we had on a Monohull and port it straight to a Catamaran, it just doesn't work. So
it's more like getting used to,
Yeah.
I think, the visibility that you now have, because you were also a lot more exposed
yes,
in Ruby Rose. So it is nice that whenever, I mean, we were beating into it. We were comfortable as all get out because nobody was getting like beat up by the wind.
Yeah.
So it is nice, but yeah, it's just you have to maneuver around it.
Yeah.
It's just, I think it's more learning.
it is
New setup.
it is learning, and I think that I've said this before. I remember Tasha Hacker when she was doing something once on an anti-crossing saying this feels a little bit like cheating, like.
Yeah.
Everything here just seems like it's cheating a little bit. Like you push a button and something, the sail goes up. You push another button and ice comes out from somewhere. You push a third button and like you get a cup of tea. It really is. It's pretty. It seems very easy, and half of the things in this cockpit, easy-ish. Half of the things in the saloon are velcroed down, and half aren't. And even though in 2 days of getting hammered, not a lot went flying.
Yeah.
Whereas in Ruby Rose, this would just look like a washing machine.
I think you get so used to being uncomfortable sometimes out at sea that when you are comfortable, then that's why it feels like cheating, because you're thinking, oh, I'm not supposed to be this comfortable, right? Like that, then it's not sailing if I'm actually comfortable,
Yeah.
right?
The performance is good. I don't have any problems with the pointing ability. I'm pretty happy with this. And the other thing is, as a platform for living, our friends were in this Anchorage 2 days ago and moved because it was so rolly. We're just like, all right, well,
Totally
happy
fine.
days, yeah, no problem. A little bit of swell from all the dive boats.
Okay, so then what's a big hit for you then? Like what's something that you're like, this is what I wanted and it absolutely hit my expectations or exceeded?
Well, workshop is one thing we're going to talk about.
Yeah, well, let's
Workshop,
go
do
there.
that quick down there. So one thing that I desperately wanted, and we stole this shamelessly from the Maverick 440. They had a dedicated workshop. No, I think we poach a lot of things from different boats.
I think that's what we all do. That's
Yeah.
why we go to boat shows and look and see what all the ideas
And
are.
Seawind were very good at like, what do you want? I'm like, this is like my red line. I really do need a workshop, because if you ever watched the videos on Ruby Rose, there was always saloon turned upside down. So Seawind created this. We worked really hard with them to get what we wanted. So it's actually the 7th berth. So it's a sea berth, 4-peak berth.
Right now it's my luggage storage.
Yep, and yeah, unpopular child birth, whatever it is. But essentially, you pull this cushion off, and you're left with this area, and then this folds back into here. The doors open, and then you have dedicated storage bins down there for tools. There's a vise that will clamp here, and in here there's tool storage, and then importantly we have GPOs there for tools, and I also wanted twin lights so that you don't ever cast shadows anywhere, because having one light, it's sometimes
little
very
detailed
difficult.
work. Yeah.
Because I worked as a dental surgeon for 20 years, you need to put your elbows down to do fine motor work.
Will you sit actually at that? And
Yeah.
I'm just curious, like what's that look like?
So basically, because it moves around, you just sit like this. You've got articulating lights that come here and here, and then I can just sit and work on whatever I need to. So
I can tell your dentist like, nope, I need to get up in there. I need all the lights.
give me the forceps. And if you're halfway through a project and you're like, okay, enough today, I need to get back to this tomorrow, you can then close it all back up. Your mess is covered, and then you pick it up the next day. So it kind of compartmentalizes, metaphorically and literally, the work that you're doing.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're pretty happy with that.
And doesn't take over your whole salon or
Yes,
your whole
and that was
cockpit
important.
table, which is what always ends up happening.
It was always about making zones, about having a work zone, having in the other hull, having an editing workstation with GPOs and.
You're starting to speak another language, because I'm like, what's a GPO?
Oh, a plug socket.
Yeah.
Yeah, general purpose outlet.
Yep.
So,
Nobody says GPO. Not in America.
yeah, okay, a freedom socket.
Perfect.
I know exactly what that is.
110 volts of like something that no one else in the world uses.
One last thing that Nick wants to talk about, and again, I think this has a lot to do with them coming from a monohull to now a catamaran. So
Yeah,
what's your last little...
It's not a gripe, it's just a concession we have to make, and that is the kind of stark white look of this boat compared to, say, our old monohull, which was all wood. It looked like, the inside of a timber workshop. In this catamaran, the deck mold actually has the furniture bases built into it, so there's a lot of white. I think that simply we, over the course of the next 5 years of ownership, will need to just personalize it with mats and things that actually just make it less stark. Some photographs of Terysa, obviously, like on the walls. So yeah, we'll break it all up and get that. But yeah, at the moment, it's
So you're
an
saying
aesthetic.
don't show the nude photos in the bedroom?
No, those big laminated things. No, but at the moment, it just needs some personalization.
For me, I love the big, open, airy, bright, feel
Yeah.
of it. I think it's so different for the two of you from your last home to this home. That brings me to some of the things that we have liked from being on this boat, sort of like little hits and misses for us, which we've already talked a lot about, but one that I really enjoyed is this floor in here. So it not just being, you know, your typical fiberglass deck, they put, what do you call this?
I don't know, it's just like a mat.
Marine vinyl floor matting.
Marine vinyl floor mat. Okay, not very sexy.
Super
but,
good name. They thought hard on that
so
name.
obvious, yeah.
Otherwise known as Bella.
But it kind of has this like linen woven texture to it, so it's super grippy on your feet. So even when your feet are super salty and whatever else, you come in here, you don't have that slippery feeling. I never feel like I'm gonna fall. So it's really nice moving around in here. It gives you a lot of grip underfoot, and it's cushy, so it feels comfortable. You don't get as much of that like fatigue from standing on a hard surface. And then I'm gonna have to look at my list because I've forgotten what I was gonna talk about. Of course, the floor I've already discussed. The helm position, I'm not gonna repeat all of that because Nick and Terysa have already kind of said all the things that I thought about it as well. It's like a 80-20 split, right? Like 80% of the time, absolutely perfect, exactly what you want. There's 20% of the time where you're like, dang, I wish I had slightly better visibility here, or I wish that I could communicate better with whoever's up front. And speaking of up front, that's my other big hit. Saw in the renders they were gonna have this seating up front. It's kind of like that happy place in between like the comfort cruiser with all the loungy spaces. And I thought, is that really gonna be that comfortable? It absolutely is. I'm a huge fan of those little cushions up front. I think that was a great call on making that a little lounge space. I dig it.
And then I have a couple things.
Yes.
For me, the two biggest things were we were beating upwind, maybe 20 knots of wind, head on, straight into the waves, and we weren't getting that big bridge deck shudder on our boat whenever we would hit a big wave, and sometimes it would just and it would slow us down. This one didn't seem to do that, so the bridge deck clearance must be really good, or the design underneath must be really good. And they had two 50-70 MRs that are definitely an upgrade, and we were able to move at 8 knots the whole time against the wind, against the wave, so that was impressive.
Okay, lunch?
Lunch.
Don't you feel so posh right now?
No, I feel like a twat, actually.
No! There's 9 million people?
Yep.
At the beach, and you don't really want to take your dinghy up to the beach where people are trying to swim and relax and hang out, so we're anchoring it out here and swimming in. It's like pool water in here. It's incredible.
Oh, it's so nice.
It's so clear and so beautiful. This is definitely the best water we've seen in Thailand so far.
This is a genius idea.
Very adventurous ride.
I already got mine. Yeah, that was just too fast.
No, it's totally fine. Look. One bowl, Choco, that, in your face. You eat it. Well, I had a lovely lunch in town, a very exciting ride into town and back out of town.
This is totally safe, totally safe. Not only are you in the back of a truck, but you're up on a bench on the top of the bed. At least in Texas, we would like sit in the bed, like down in the bed. This is...
Just look out for low flying stuff.
Yeah.
I don't even know if we were really in town. We went to an area on the island. I'm not really sure. Terysa was in charge of that, and I didn't pay much attention. I was just along for the nice ride, and it was a nice ride. Anyway, we got back, and now everybody's kind of just been working. Nick's been doing projects on the boat. Terysa's been editing. Jason's been editing. I've been hammering away at commentary and other things on the internet, you know, general stuff like that. And of course, now we've got our evening rain that is settling in. This seems to be the pattern we experienced when we arrived, and now here we are. It's beautiful during the day, and then the rain shows up at night. And we got Nick making dinner for us tonight. He's in an oblivion over there.
Sorry, Nick, I was completely distracted by trying to get a piece of mango out of our vomit chute.
What are we having for dinner tonight?
I'm going to knock up some aubergine pasta with maybe some mozzarella, some pecorino, garlic, tomatoes, maybe bake it, not quite sure, served with beer and weed.
Because when in Thailand.
Exactly.
That'll be a first for me.
Wow, this pasta tastes
I've never had that kind of garnish before. Are you ready for sundowner time? And not that we can see the sun, but...
Yeah, I mean, let's fly the drone in the rain. Let's see what happens.
What's the worst?
What? I didn't suggest that.
I don't think it's raining.
Yeah.
It's still spitting out there.
Yeah.
Yeah, spitting.
Hopefully it goes away and we can do like a sunset or at least a nighttime shot because they have underwater lights and the drone is supposed to do really well in low light scenery. So maybe we'll get something. I'm trying to like go through quickly because we're gonna only be on this boat for a couple more days. So I'm like, I gotta watch all the footage. I gotta figure out if I missed anything. Oh my god.
You are have to change your flights.
That's why I'm sweating. Yeah. We can't change our flights.
They're getting used to crew.
Exactly. Yeah.
So this was our contribution to the new boat, which we plan on enjoying also while we're here. A little bit of a selfish gift, you're welcome. Along with some music tonic. There you go.
There goes the sun.
We were all really hoping for that night shot.
Keys in. Plug is in.
I only got about half a tank of gas left in that, so unless you want to row ashore, keep an eye on it.
Keep it to a short joyride.
Yeah.
We are about to go to sea and we have not tested the drone, like the follow me settings, and well, we haven't really done any of the tracking stuff. So we thought it's so beautiful right now, we might be able to fly it when we're sailing. We might as well practice first in the tender.
Look at that.
This tender is going to be supreme for flying the drone. You're going to be so comfortable. The only thing it's missing is a bimini.
That would also make it very hard to catch and land the drone.
All right, starting up.
We've kind of been joking about this tender, you know. Nick's like, oh, I feel like a twat. You know, and I'm like, it is a big obnoxious dinghy, but at the same exact time, you know, it is always such a thing. It's like, your dinghy is your car. We've talked about this a lot. And like,
Ooh, let me go back on the other side of it.
Very windy, huh?
Yeah.
It's gonna be a challenging day for the drone.
Uh-oh.
Good day for sailing. But it's like the dinghy is your car, and you have to kind of make the decision between, like, do you want something big and comfortable, or do you want something light and nimble? Because like, you can't have it all, right? They will never be dragging this up on the beach. It's just going to be too heavy and too complicated. But cruising and diving and snorkeling and getting, you know, nice long distances around over to where all the provisions are and everything else, they're going to be nice and cush for that. So it'll be interesting to hear what they think about it in a year. So I've just clicked and dragged. So we'll do active track, tap go, and the aircraft will follow the subject automatically. So let's give it a test.
Okay. I'll start slow.
So right now it's showing straight down because that's where we are, and it's turning around. I like this. Okay, yeah.
Should I pick it up?
Yeah, go for it. Easy boy.
So you're flying right now.
Yes, drone's flying itself. I'm just sitting back and relaxing.
Should I do a hard turn and see what it does?
Oh God, okay. Yeah, give it a go. I'm ready to hit stop, just in case. So far, so good. Come on, little drone. Show me what you got. Still working. No drama yet. And testing complete. I give it a 9 out of 10. 1 point deducted for my user error on taking so freaking long to figure out how to use the telephoto lens. But overall, with the new speeds, the sensors, and dual lenses, this is no doubt the best drone for sailing and exploring.
All right, I'm swapping out batteries because we're gonna do some photos real quick before we leave this Anchorage, and I want to talk about this battery pack. This is a very smart charger. So of course, it does the normal stuff where you can turn it on, charge an action camera or the remote or your telephone. But what's really interesting about this one, power on, you hold it, and then what it does is it takes the most charged battery, so this one had 3 bars, and it uses the lowest battery to move the power from this battery into this battery. So it uses these depleted batteries to charge up one battery, and that comes in handy because we don't like to take it to less than 30% when we're flying, especially on the boat, more like 50%. So we end up with a lot of batteries that aren't fully charged. So if we can dump the power from these into this one, it's cool. Anyway, pretty neat.
The active track has been tested, photos have been taken, and now Nick and Terysa need our help with sorting out a sail issue up front. So we need to be good crew and sign off so that we can be focused for them. So thank you so much for watching, and we will see you next Sunday. Bye.
Bye.